Persuasive writing. When you write an argumentative or persuasive paper, more so than with expository or analytical papers, you must be acutely aware of your audience, the reader. Remember, the purpose of an argumentative paper is to convince the reader that your position is the better one. To begin with, assume the reader disagrees with you. Next, remember that although the reader may disagree with you, he or she is not less intelligent than you. This is the reason we do not directly address the reader in an academic essay, and we avoid using you and your, because when you use you and your reader will feel as if the writer is lecturing the reader. So avoid attacking the reader with such statements as, anyone who believes we should ban nuclear power plants must be ignorant or out of touch with reality. Indeed, address your reader by writing objectively, logically, and respectfully. This is the reason I insist you use a professional tone when you write your academic papers. The persuasive paper is the most common paper you will be writing in college. In a persuasive essay, you want to convince the reader of your point of view and that you are right while the opponent is wrong. Persuasive writing is used in advertisements. How many times have you been convinced to buy a product simply because of a commercial you've seen on TV? Advertisements are clearly intended to convince the reader to buy something. Basically, to write a persuasive paper, you have to take a position or take a stand. So here I take a stand. I say that abortion is immoral because it assumes that the fetus is not human. It assumes that the fetus does not feel pain. It assumes the fetus is not yet conscious, and abortion kills a human life. And so here you have a thesis statement, and then you have matching body paragraphs. Abortion is immoral because it assumes the fetus is not human. And so that this body paragraph matches the thesis statement. And so when you have this kind of structure where you have a thesis statement with matching body paragraphs, this is known as the 5-paragraph essay structure. On with the persuasive writing. And so in persuasive writing, as I mentioned before, you want to convince the reader of your point of view. And as a result, the writer has to take a stand in order to convince the reader that the other side or the other position is wrong. How do you convince the reader of your point of view? So the writer must have an awareness of the audience. The writer must also have convincing reasons based on facts, not opinions. The writer must also have sufficient evidence for each reason from credible sources. The writer must also make appeals based on logic, emotion, and the writer's character. The writer must also give an honest discussion of other views. So when you give an honest discussion of other views, this is known as a counter-argument, where you concede the opposite point of view and then refute their views. You will learn more about how to do this in English 102. The desired result. The goal of persuasive writing is convincing readers to change their minds about an issue, or at least give your view serious consideration. Often the goal is to get your reader to act in the same way you, the writer, would. And so in conclusion, persuasive writing involves persuading the reader to think just like you. This concludes my video on persuasive writing and the audience.